What is up guys, it's Cal, and in this video we're going to be going over Glory of the Wartorn Hero, a meta achievement comprised of 27 Battle for Azeroth dungeon achievements that when you finish it will award you with the reins of the Obsidian Crowlusk mount. The expansion is nearing the end, so you might want to get this before Shadowlands comes out. I mean, you don't have to, the achievement isn't going away, but some of these do require more than one person to do. Anyways, before we get started, requirements for this achievement, so you can get a good group comp to start off. So there are no class requirements, but there are profession requirements to get one achievement that spans over 2 dungeons, which will be the first achievement that we talk about actually. You need a leatherworker, a tailor, an herbalist, an enchanter or inscriptionist, cooking, blacksmithing, engineer, and alchemy, and your skills in those must be at least level 75 in Coltiran or Zandalari of that skill. You also need at least one person with a Hearthstone board toy, and you also need to do all of these achievements on Mythic difficulty. And one last thing, getting the Instance Achievement Tracker add-on is very helpful for doing this. Once you enter an instance, you'll get a pop-up asking if you want to turn it on for this dungeon, and you can hit yes. So that's about it. Let's get started. So starting off with Whitecrest Manor, the first achievement is Losing My Profession. There are different items for people with professions to interact with, so the first one is your herbalist. You'll come to the outside area where Soulbinder Goliath is, the big tree boss, and there will be a vial pod in this fountain. Your herbalist needs to interact with it, and Groundskeeper Lilith will come out of it for your group to kill. That's one of 8 criteria done for that achievement. Run wild like a man on fire. Soulbinder Goliath achievement. Every 2 seconds he gets a stack of soul harvest. You need to kill him before he gets 12 stacks of it. Now to reset the stacks, there are fires that spawn around the room that your tank needs to drag him through, and it will reset the stacks. But sometimes the RNG of the fire placement will be really bad. So if you have high DPS like my group, then you can Heroism or Bloodlust, pop all cooldowns, and kill him within 24 seconds to get the achievement. Now we'll get a few more things done for the Losing My Profession achievement. There's a map that your leatherworker can interact with in the Hunting Lodge. The room with the fireplace, it's in the bottom right corner of Whitecrest Manor. There's actually a few maps scattered around the room, but only one is interactable. It's by the corner of the room where I am right now, next to the bookcase. Have your leatherworker interact with it, and Huntsman Grath will spawn. Next item is for your tailor to interact with. It is a cursed loom, so go upstairs above where the trio witch boss is, and in one of the rooms is where the cursed loom will be located. Once your tailor interacts with it, Seamstress Joanna will spawn, and then the killer to get that criteria. Next item is the hallway to the left of the outside area where Soulbinder Goliath is. This is for your enchanters or inscriptionists to interact with. On this bookshelf, there is an ancient tome. Once interacted with, Governess Tabitha will spawn. Then the final item in Whitecrest Manor for this achievement is in the cellar, but before you descend to Lady Whitecrest. This is for anyone with a level 75 Coltiran or Zandalari cooking to interact with. There will be a Vineguard wine to interact with. Once done, Head Vintner Justin will spawn to kill. The rest of the items for the achievement are in the Siege of Borealis. And then the final achievement in Whitecrest is Alchemical Romance off of Gore. So he'll spawn these Death Touch Slaver ads every once in a while. When they spawn, don't kill them. And also, don't put a lot of DPS on Gore. You need 3 of these Death Touch Slaver ads to spawn. Someone needs to pick up the alchemical fire that is thrown on the ground. It's a glowing vial, you just need to run over it to pick it up. Once 3 Death Touch Slaver ads spawn, kill them all right on top of each other. Then once they die, the person with the alchemical fire needs to throw it on their corpses, destroying 3 of them with 1 potion. Then defeat Gore for your achievement. Next up, Siege of Borealis. First we start off with the engineering item for the Losing My Profession achievement. So this is a tad before the first boss in this open area where there's a thing in the middle for people to be hung. There will be a Threshinator 3000 in the corner. Once your engineer interacts with it, destroy it to get closer to completing this achievement. Stand By Me. The achievement of Dread Captain Lockwood. So pretty much you just have to keep using snares on her for the entire fight. Warrior Hamstring, Hunter's Concussive Shot, just keep snaring her. This will make sure she doesn't use her evasive ability. When phase 2 happens, blow all cooldowns to take out the Cannoneer and bring her back to phase 1, remembering to instantly put a slow on her as she lands. Then you'll get your achievement. Next up is the blacksmithing item for Losing My Profession. So this is roughly halfway between the second and third boss. After you down the Demolisher dude that's in the hallway, there's a side path for you to take that goes downstairs. Down there is a Warren auto hammer. Once your blacksmith interacts with it, Brutic Black Anvil will spawn. And then the final item for this achievement is right after the last one. Before you go upstairs to the spotter, there's a strange vial by this friendly NPC for your alchemist to interact with. Once interacted with, Liz Vial Pot will spawn. Kill her and you'll get your Losing My Profession achievement. A fish out of water. This final achievement in here is off Vic Goth. So he'll use Putrid Waters, which puts a bunch of blue swirls on the ground for your group to dodge. When that happens, a bunch of fish will spawn on land. Position yourself on the side of the fish opposite from the water, click the fish and kick it into the water. Once 15 fish are kicked in, your instance achievement tracker should say that you've met the criteria, then you have to down the boss to get your achievement. Next up, Freehold. I'm in charge now. Before you pull Sky Captain Crag, the first boss, someone in your group has to put down a Hearthstone board toy. No one click on it because it will flip it over, but once the board is put down, pull the boss and Patches will spawn. Kill Patches, then defeat Sky Captain Crag. Pecking order is this next achievement, so there are items around Freehold that need to be picked up. The first item is by Sky Captain Crag, so after you've downed him on his nest, there will be a Sharkbait's empty dish, so someone needs to just click it. Then go over this long bridge after the first boss and you'll pull everything here. Just kidding, you actually don't have to, but walk up these stairs, then continue on and go up this next set of stairs. Then continue on a bit and there's a gourmet parrot's chow right on these barrels. So click that to pick it up. Then finally for this achievement, head to Sharkbait, who is to the right of the third boss's arena. You'll see him chilling there, interact with his bowl and you'll get your achievement. That sweet booty is the final achievement in here. Now this achievement doesn't have a really good description and confused my group at first. It's off Harlan Sweet's the final boss, and you need to destroy 3 chests of booty. So there's plenty of chests around the area, but the chests of booty are the open ones. So they're closed ones that tripped up my group, but then the open chests are what you want to worry about. When someone gets cannon barrage in them, run over one of the open chests and the cannon barrage will destroy it. Then that chest will disappear. They don't all need to be at the same time, just during the encounter. So destroy 3 of them, then defeat Harlan Sweet and you get your achievement. So for Told to Gore, the first achievement is off the third boss and it's remixed to Ignition. So this is probably one of the more difficult achievements to the meta. You can't have any of the barrels explode. So my group went with the Zerg strategy, and that's where both your healer and tank switch to DPS, spec to kill her as fast as possible. And if you do that strat, you pretty much have to kill her in like 15 seconds. Other than that, there are fire circles that appear under barrels for them to be moved out of. The healer should immediately dispel Fuse Lighter so it doesn't light barrels on fire, and the boss will face a random barrel to cast Cinder Flame. Someone needs to be by that barrel to move it immediately before Cinder Flame goes off. Now the achievement fails once a barrel explodes. At the very end we had one light on fire, but it takes a couple seconds before it explodes. The next achievement is Shot Through the Heart from the final boss Overseer Korgus. Everyone needs to be stunned at the same time by Heartstopper Venom, so as soon as the boss is engaged, everyone needs to continuously move around. Keep moving and everyone should get stunned at the same time, and it's an 8-second stun. So once that's over, defeat the boss for your achievement. Now for Shrine of the Storms. The first achievement is Breath of the Shrine. So clear out the very first room of the instance before you head outside, and in a corner you'll see a Shrine's Breath on the ground that someone can pick up. Don't pick it up yet. Now go kill all of the trash until the third boss, Lord Stormsong, and dodge the first and second boss on your way. You can completely dodge those bosses without pulling them. Now once we got to this ramp portion a bit after the second boss's area, I jumped off the edge to kill myself and appear at the start of the dungeon. Then I went to pick up the flame, while my group killed the rest of the trash to the third boss. So with this flame, feel free to use all abilities, you can even stealth, just make sure to not die of course, and if you take any frost damage it will extinguish the flame, but that shouldn't be a problem since the trash is dead. Run yourself through the entire dungeon making sure to dodge the 2 bosses that your group dodged until you eventually make it to Lord Stormsong's room. He has 2 shrines to the left and right of him. All you have to do is walk up to one, click it, and everyone will get their achievement, but you may accidentally pull the boss in the process. The Void Lies Sleeping is the achievement off Lord Stormsong. So through the fight, he'll spawn these void orbs that fixate on players. Do not touch any of them to get the achievement. Zerg him and use all your cooldowns in heroism or bloodlust to down him as fast as possible. If someone becomes mind controlled, they cannot run into any of the void orbs, so melee, be careful as well. Run away from the void orbs, even if it means running away from the boss. Once he dies with no void orb soak, you'll get your achievement. Trust to no one, Valzeth's achievement. So your group needs to down the boss with everyone under the effects of maddening dreams. So before the boss encounter, around where the electric jellies are, swim down until the edge of your screen goes purple and you'll see void orbs around. Don't swim too far or you'll die. During the fight, each person in your group needs to grab one of these orbs. So onto the boss. DPS him pretty low. Don't kill him of course. Then when he gets to phase 2, Go through it like normal, killing the ads, but then don't interrupt the boss yet. Everyone besides your tank needs to go back into the previous hallway, swim down, and swim through an orb to get your debuff. Then once back on the platform, someone in your group needs to taunt the boss, and then your tank goes back to grab their debuff. Then when your tank gets back, they need to make sure to taunt the boss. So what this debuff will do is every 6 seconds, everyone will get a 25-second debuff where you'll be hostile to each other. So definitely watch AoE cleave, and no one can be healed during that time. Then when the 25 seconds are up, everyone is friendly to each other again for 6 seconds. That part doesn't matter so much, you just now need to down the boss once everyone has grabbed their Void Orb. You don't need to be hostile with each other or anything, but with that being said, no one can die during the encounter or you'll lose your debuff, and the achievement will fail. Now for Motherlode. Pitch Invasion is the first achievement, which is for the first boss. Before the boss's room, there's a glowing extra strength Kaja Cola for someone in your group to pick up. Once someone has it, engage the boss. To the right of the boss, there's a guy named Ledley the Bold. Whoever grabbed the cola needs to throw it at them by using their extra action button. Then after a moment, he will join the fight. Your group needs to kill him and interrupt his red card spell. Once he's dead, down the boss for your achievement. And the other achievement in this dungeon is off the final boss, ready for raiding 6. Now this is a personal achievement. You have to dodge the Gatling gun, micro missiles, big red rocket, and direct hit from drill smash for the achievement. So let me show you these abilities so it's easier for you to watch out for them. Gatling gun and micro missiles are phase 1, whereas drill smash and big red rocket are phase 2. And the micro missiles might happen during phase 2, I forget. Now just to be clear, this red rocket that fixates on players and hits them is not the big red rocket. That's the homing missile, which is completely fine to get hit by. The Gatling gun is a channeled ability. The boss will cast it, he'll spin around 360 degrees shooting this thing off. The closer you are to him, the easier it is to dodge. The micro missiles are a little more difficult. If you look up, you'll see 2 flying enemies. They'll be on 2 adjacent sides of the room and will shoot the missiles in front of them, which are a bunch of red swirls on the ground. Don't be in a line in front of them, and there should be a safe quadrant in the room to stand in. And then for phase 2, at the start, there are these big red swirls on the ground to not stand in. That's the big red rocket. Then someone will get a mark on their head to stand on one of these rockets in the ground. As soon as the boss starts moving towards you, he has already fixated on that spot, so move out of the way as soon as he starts moving to not get hit by the direct hit from the drill smash. Through the whole fight, dodge those abilities, defeat the boss, and you'll get your achievement. Now for Atal Dazar. So first things first, the achievements in here might be easier to do on 2 separate runs. It's not required, but one of the achievements takes the entire dungeon and it just makes it more difficult to do the others. So let's start off talking about the Bringing Hexy Back achievement. So for this achievement, you need to defeat all 4 bosses in one run while one player has unstable hex on them from a Witch Doctor. And the Witch Doctors only reside on the right side of the dungeon before Volkal. You want to clear all the trash in the dungeon, but leave up one Witch Doctor. We left this one up that's towards the start of the dungeon. She will use unstable hex on a random player, then another player has to stand on them, and both players must stay close to each other for the entirety of the dungeon, just juggling the unstable hex back and forth. Feel free to kill the Witch Doctor, but just be aware that if the unstable hex goes away somehow, well, hopefully you have a Witch Doctor somewhere else. So the unstable hex can actually be dispelled if you have someone in your group that can dispel curses. That's all druids, mages, and all shamans. If it's dispelled, it will just cast unstable hex on whoever is in that circle when it's dispelled. So yeah, go through the entire dungeon while 2 people are just juggling the hex back and forth. The other way of doing this achievement is keeping a Witch Doctor alive, bring it to each of the bosses, and have it cast its hex ability towards the end of the fight while it's being juggled between the 2 people. That's by CCing the Witch Doctor through most of the fight. The hex doesn't need to last the whole fight. The boss just needs to die while someone has a hex ability on them. The next ability is Gold Fever from Priestess Alunza. So you need to defeat a Fatal Corruption and then defeat the boss. So she'll spawn a Spirit of Gold. This ad will fixate each of the blood pools on the ground and soak them up. You want it to do this. 5 blood pools spawn from the boss, so you want the Spirit of the Gold to soak them up. Now, once the Spirit of the Gold soaks up 5 blood pools, it will actually just start attacking someone. CC it at this point so it doesn't take any unnecessary damage, because it needs to soak 8 puddles. Once the next set of blood puddles comes out, break the CC and it'll soak up 3 and turn into a Fatal Corruption. Kill it, then kill the boss for your achievement. It's lit, the achievement of Yasma. So there are 4 Shadow Flame sconces on 4 different ends of the room. These need to be lit to get the achievement. DPS Yasma till she's pretty low, then wait for Soul Rend to happen. About 5 to 10 seconds before it happens, everyone except the tank needs to be by one of the sconces. You have to be right up against it. The Soul Rend will happen and it will light all 4 of them. Then defeat the boss for your achievement. Now for King's Rest, the achievement It Belongs in a Mausoleum requires your group to find 4 tablets across the dungeon. This is a personal achievement, so everyone needs to click all of the tablets to get the achievement. The first one is at the very start here, right next to the sarcophagus. Just click the ancient trinket. The next one isn't too much forwards, it's still before the first boss. Before you enter the first boss's room, go past it, and the second trinket is against this set of stairs. Now the next 2 aren't until after the second boss, so let's talk about this boss's achievement, Rap God. So when someone gets entombed, they can't use struggle more than once, and you also have to free them before the boss opens up a coffin. If you have high DPS, you can DPS them fast enough for this mechanic to not be a problem, but if your DPS isn't too high, then your group needs to keep an eye on all of the coffins. The person who gets entombed cannot use struggle more than once. They can use it once to show their location, but not more than that. And then they do need to be freed before the boss opens up a coffin. Now for the next trinket. This one's kind of tricky to get to. So in this first room after the second boss, you want to clear the trash out in here, but don't pull the brute. If you do pull the brute, then don't kill him because you need him to get this trinket. It needs to be tanked at this location right here, and you need to wait for him to do ground crush. Everyone needs to stand on it and get knocked in the air. This will knock you into this upper platform to get the trinket. It may take some practice to get to, but that's the third trinket. Then the final trinket is right before the last boss, but after Zul. You need to do some wall jumping to get this final trinket. So jump your way up this pillar, and you'll get to a certain point where you need to just mouse over the trinket and click it as you jump. Once you do that, you'll get your It Belongs in a Mausoleum achievement. And then the final achievement is How to Keep a Mummy. In the back of King Dazar's room, there are 2 stones to stand on in front of 2 sarcophagi. Only 2 people need to worry about doing this. Just 1 person needs to stand on each, and you'll notice lights start lighting up around the stones. Once the lights are done, one of the sarcophagi will shake. Only one of them, not both. Once that happens, you're good to down the boss and get your achievement. This also gives you a pet in the mail, Mimi. It's a little mummy pet. It's cute. Next up, Underrot. The first achievement is Taint. Nobody got time for that from the first boss. Now this achievement is also kind of more difficult. You pretty much just need everyone in your group to avoid all of her abilities. Taint of Cahoon is applied if any of her abilities hit anyone, and if anyone gets that, then the achievement fails. So your group needs to make sure to interrupt Bloodbolt each time it's cast. Your group needs to make sure to dodge Creeping Rot as it moves, and she'll teleport to a random player and cast Sanguine Feast. That player needs to make sure to get away from her when she does that. Our tank and healer also switch to DPS so we could Zerg her faster. Defeat her without anyone getting hit by anything and get your achievement. Not a fun guy. Sport Color Zoncha's achievement. So before the fight, locate where Musa Shataki is. You'll notice this weird looking mushroom guy in the corner that cannot be clicked, cannot be targeted, cannot be interacted with. You just want to know where he is. When the boss is engaged, your tank needs to face him towards Musa Shataki. The boss will cast Shockwave, and the Mushroom Man will be attackable. Kill him, and then kill the boss for your achievement. Sporely Alive, the final achievement in Underrot from the final boss. So for this achievement, your group cannot kill any of the spores that are around the room. And keep in mind, they all have 1 health, so they will be one shot. So no accidental AoE. As a Beastmaster Hunter, I did spec out of Chimera Shot and Stomp because of their AoE. Just strictly use single target abilities on the boss. You don't need to worry about attacking the abominations that the boss spawns because your friend will kill them for you. Down the boss without taking out any of the spores for your achievement. Now for your final 3 achievements. In Temple of Sethralis, Snake Eater is the first achievement, and it's off the second boss, Merrick Thaw. So before the fight starts, you need someone in your group with some ground-based AoE to AoE on top of this bone cage. Hunter flares do work. That's what I end up doing. This will reveal a solid egg up there. Now if you have a Death Knight, they should death grip it down. This isn't required, it just makes it easier. Now don't kill the egg at all. When the boss is engaged, stack by the egg or under the egg if it's still on that bone cage, so the boss will cast Noxious Breath in that direction. Then the boss will cast Blinding Sand. Once those 2 things are finished, a solid snake will hatch. If the egg was on the bone cage, the snake will teleport to the arena in a moment. But when it's attackable, your group needs to kill it. Once killed, everyone in your group needs to click it to eat it. Then this will award you the achievement. So you will get the achievement before the boss dies. Next achievement is Snake Eyes. This is before the final boss and is in the room with the Orb Guardians. You need to activate both of the eyes within 10 seconds of each other. So just simply kill all of the Orb Guardians, then get both of the eyes to the sockets using class abilities and whatnot, and click on them within 10 seconds of each other for your achievement. Then the final achievement is Good Night, Sweet Prince. So engage the final boss. Now kill the first set of Hexers, then Toads will eventually spawn. Your group wants to slash kiss all of the toads as soon as they come down, so a /kiss macro may be useful. Now they will chase your healer, but kissing them has a chance of activating the Prince Frog. But kissing the same frog does not keep giving it that chance. Either that frog is the Prince Frog or it's not. So once they've all been kissed and nothing happens, kill them and heal the boss up to 70% for the next hexers to spawn. Now here, don't kill any of the hexers, just stall in this phase for toads to spawn. Each time they spawn, keep kissing them. If none of them are a prince, kill them and wait for the next set of toads to spawn. Eventually, after kissing them, one of them will be the prince, and it will be Trade Prince Gallywix actually, who is just spinning around. Now you don't need to kill him, in fact, he won't die, he just stops at 1 health, but once he spawns, finish the fights and you'll get your achievement, as well as your Glory of the Wartorn Hero achievement. And that is what the mount looks like. It's the Obsidian Crowlusk. Obviously not a flying mount, but it is a mount. But there you have it, guys. That's all of the BFA dungeon achievements. If you found this video helpful at all, feel free to leave a like on it. You can sub to the channel for more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.